Aquaba, y'all. So I was
Aquavia.
just chilling outside by the sun because I can do that because I'm black. And then White Jesus came to me. White Jesus was like, Gazi. I said, what, White Jesus? And he was like, you need to train male Saxons. I said, why, White Jesus? He was like, because just like dogs, they need training. I said, okay, I'll do it.
Raided by the FBI last summer when Ionov was originally charged. So yeah, they were the ones who were raided last summer, and now they're formally. So they raided them last summer, and now they're formally indicting them, charging them.
No,
Russia's
the reason they were raided, Jackson, we just went over this. The reason they were raided was because they found a dead body in their home. Someone was murdered. That's why they were raided. Jackson Hinkle. How's it going, buddy? How's it going? I want to see, first of all, what are people saying? This is how the US slides into fascism? I'm guessing it's not the same way that I think it's going to happen. Truth tellers are being silenced while liars have their voices amplified. I mean, this changes everything. I don't remember what this was about. But I'm quite curious to hear what Jackson Hinkle thinks changes everything.
everybody. I wanted to come here and make this.
By the way, why don't you invest in a better camera, Hinkle? Why are you streaming at 720p? Just get a better. Ask Putin. Ask your sugar daddy for some money for a better setup, please.
Because something very, very concerning just took place. And I need you to share this video far and wide. So drop a like on this video. Subscribe to my channel for more.
By the way, subscribe to my channel.
Updates about what is.
Hit that subscribe button. I heard Game Theory say you shouldn't ask people to like, subscribe, and share. Because that's going to be an overload and they're not going to do anything. So you're just going to ask them one thing and one thing only. And you have to do it in a special way. So you can't just say, hit that like button or hit that subscribe button. You have to actually cut through the noise of everyone else saying it. So I don't know how I'm going to do it. I want something Viking-y to say. Pray to Odin by hitting that subscribe button. Something like that. Yeah? Pray to Odin by hitting that subscribe button, okay?
What is going on. And there will be more updates about what is going on with this case right here. Because, well, it's directly pertinent to our free speech, our First Amendment as Americans, and really to all of you. Because what just took place is something that, honestly, we haven't seen the likes of. It's the weaponization of our justice system, the likes of which.
Oh my God, this is about Trump, isn't it? This is about Trump. 1 day ago, though. This is about Trump.
We haven't seen in years. I mean, this is very frightening.
Like the MAGA communist is going to simp for Trump.
And I want to break it down for you, okay? Because the tyrants in the White House have completely eliminated free speech in one final swoop by moving.
How are you able to say this then? What are you talking about, Hinkle? How are you able to say this if there's no free speech anymore?
Moving forward with this action that I'm going to go into right now. So the Associated
Press, the absolute first thing they would do if there were no free speech would be stop people from saying anything about this. That would be number one.
In the Department of Justice, well, Department of Justice just put out a statement on this. I read the full statement, and I'm going to look at the Associated Press article on this story to give you the analysis needed as to what's actually happening and what is going to happen with these 7 individuals. But Here is the story. This is
What's-
just insane.
tell
U.S.
me.
charges 4 Americans and 3 Russians.
Oh, right. Okay, I haven't read into this. I haven't read up on this. I'm going to see here U.S. individuals charged with Russia spying. Last year, no. Russia arrests American journalist. U.S. indicts alleged Russia spy. Like, what are we? U.S. 4 U.S. individuals. Here, why not? Fox News. The Justice Department has charged 7 individuals who allegedly worked with the Russian government and authorities in an effort to recruit groups to act as unregistered Russian agents and sow discord and spread propaganda. They worked with the Russian government. By the way, I can't hear myself. They worked with the Russian government. That is why they are being charged. It has nothing to do with free speech. Had they just registered as Russian agents, nothing would have happened to them. But they didn't. Efforts by the Russian government to secretly influence U.S. elections will not be tolerated, said Assistant Attorney General Kenneth A. Polite, Jr. of the Justice Department Criminal Division. As today's announcement demonstrates, the Criminal Division is committed to eradicating foreign malign influence from the U.S. political system and helping ensure the integrity of our elections. A federal jury in Tampa, Florida, these are the guys who complain that U.S. elections aren't safe, aren't protected. Here they are protecting the elections, and they freak out because, oh my God, we can't be working with a foreign government who wants to stop or wants to hinder fair elections. Oh my God. Free speech is an attack. Oh my God. No, stop it. A federal jury in Tampa, Florida, indicted 4 U.S. citizens and 3 Russian nationals who attempted to recruit, fund, and direct U.S. political groups to spread pro-Russian propaganda. Let's see here. Okay. And to position local candidates for office, according to the Justice Department press release. They wanted Russian sleeper agents, pretty much, in the political system. Do you realize how fucking dangerous that is? Why am I up there by now, by the way? Do you realize how fucking dangerous that would be to have foreign spies, no matter where they come from, in the political system? They won't be impartial. They will be beholden to Russia. Do you really? Well, he wants this. Of course he wants. Today's announcement paints a harrowing picture of Russian government's action and the lengths to which the FSB will go to interfere with our elections, sow discord in our nation, and ultimately recruit U.S. citizens to their efforts, said Acting Assistant Director Kurt Rono of the FBI's Counterintelligence Division. All Americans should be deeply concerned by the tactics employed by the FSB and remain vigilant to any attempt to undermine our democracy, Rono added. The FBI remains committed to confronting this egregious behavior and ultimately disrupting our adversaries and those who act on their behalf. This sounds like the system working as intended, as it should be even. Alexander Viktorovich Ionov, a resident of Moscow, allegedly spearheaded the operation through the anti-globalization movement of Russia. I've never heard of that. Anti-globalization movement. supports the full sovereignty of nation states, including the sovereignty of Russia as an independent player on the political, economic, and cultural world state. So we support full sovereignty of nation states on the cultural world stage, anti-globalization movement. The movement aims to promote all aspects of the national security and traditional moral values. There we go. There we go. This is not an anti-globalization movement. This is a pro-Russia movement through and through. Headquartered in Moscow, he allegedly acted at the direction of Moscow-based FSB officers, including the 2 other Russian indicted in the case. Alexei Borisovich, I'm not going to attempt it, and Yegor Popov conspired to directly and substantially influence democratic elections in the U.S. through support and funding of a local candidate in St. Petersburg, Florida in 2019, according to the indictment. Ionov also tried to create the appearance that Americans supported Russian annexation of Okay. The 7 individuals, all including the Americans, each face a maximum penalty of 5 years in prison for acting as illegal agents of the Russian government within the U.S. without providing prior notification to the Attorney General as required by law. The Americans can face another 10 years for acting as agents of Russia without prior notification. That's what I said. All they had to do was phone up the Attorney General and say, hey, I am now a Russian agent. I am being paid by this other state. And that goes, even if it's not Russia. If you're acting on behalf of the Swedish government in the US, even though we're allies, you still have to phone up the Attorney General and say, hey, I'm acting on behalf of Sweden here. That is why they're facing 5 years in jail.
In election discord case. Okay. Now this group of Americans that is being targeted by the Department of Justice is a Black empowerment political organization affiliated with the Uhuru movement. Okay. I believe the group is called Black Hammer and Uhuru. They're like 2 synonymous or aligned organizations, something to that.
I wonder if he's gonna. I'm gonna do one thing. Uhuru. Cats. Black Hitler. Let's go for the meme. Black Hitler. Uhuru. Oh, there we go. Gazi Kodzo. There we go. Commander Gazi. This guy. Oh boy. Do not call him gay. He'll fuck men. But he's not gay. He's a same-sex lover. That is the... Like, this guy goes back a lot of years. And he is now facing... Right, he was... there was a guy murdered or killed or died in his compound. Come on, I want the OG meme. There was an old ass video. Let's go here.
That's so Raven. It's so cool that I can see. That's so Raven. Subscribing to white supremacy. Yeah, you're real good. That's she. Raven, we need to talk. First and foremost, let's talk about what you said on Oprah, saying that you are not black. Girl, you are black. Everything you are is because you are black. The reason why your bank account looked that way is because you are black. The reason why you have a career is because you are black. The reason why you have talent is because you are black. Okay, girl? Them other things that were raped and oppressed into your...
Okay. Popular. Oh, okay. This is what he blew up for.
Aquaba, y'all. So
Aquaba,
I was
y'all.
just chilling outside by the sun because I can do that because I'm black. And then White Jesus came to me. White Jesus was like, Gazi. I said, what, White Jesus? And he was like, you need to train male Saxons. I said, why, White Jesus? He was like, because just like dogs, they need training. I said, okay, I'll do it. So now I'm going to show you.
Like, this is some racism towards white people. They need to be trained like dogs.
These well-trained male Saxons, toilet seat complexion individuals, okay?
Toilet seat complexion individuals.
Disciples of White Jesus, okay? So let's talk to them real quick and let's see what they have to say. Uhuru. Uhuru.
And these guys are just standing there. These guys are just standing there. Like, yeah, I am happy with this. Oh, yep, I'm happy to be affiliated with this.
Do you owe reparations?
Absolutely.
Why you say that? Wait, who is you?
Beryl Shepley.
Uhuru Barrel. Now, you owe me some money. Okay, you owe me reparations.
Absolutely.
Why is that?
Because every freedom that I have and have taken for granted for my entire life
This
has
is
been
sad.
made possible by wealth that my ancestors stole.
Uhuru. Good. Uhuru,
Uhuru.
what your name is?
Jackson.
Uhuru Jackson, you owe me reparations.
I do.
Why that?
Because I have benefited from the wealth that was stolen from you,
tell it.
as have all my ancestors, the ones who owned slaves and the ones who did not, the Jews in, the white Jews in Hungary.
You better tell on the white Jews. Say that again.
The white Jews in Hungary, the fake Jews.
Yes, fake white Jews.
Fake white Jews.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So you unite with reparations.
Completely.
Uhuru.
Uhuru.
What your name is again?
Jackson.
Uhuru Jackson.
So the reason why I'm watching this is because this dude is now indicted as a Russian agent, Gazi Kodzo, a Russian agent. Augustus C. Romain Jr., aka Gazi Kodzo, a U.S. citizen residing in St. Petersburg, Florida. By the way, was there a what's called when your name predict you? Name predict. Nominative determinism here. An Atlanta who served as leader of the APSP and founder of Black Hammer in Georgia. So this guy is a Russian agent.
Uhuru.
What's up, Uhuru?
Yep, you heard him, y'all. He said Uhuru. Uhuru.
Uhuru.
Where you from?
Seattle.
Did he say Yohuru?
He raised around all nothing but African people, y'all. So he don't know nothing about being white. He don't like white people. Ain't that right?
All white people owe reparations, though.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Ain't that right?
That's true.
And what your name is?
Prince.
Uhuru Prince.
Uhuru.
Now, why you owe for reparations?
Because as a white person, I sit on the pedestal of colonialism and slavery that built not only the wealth of this country, but the whole European world. Therefore, all white people owe reparations, and we're coming to get it.
Uhuru, you better tell it.
Yeah, we coming to get it.
Uhuru. Uhuru.
Uhuru.
Oh, that's the whitest man I've ever
What
seen.
your name is?
Jesse.
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 You owe me reparations.
Correct.
And I want it. When do I want it?
Now.
When do I want it?
Now.
And you gonna get it for me?
Yes, indeed.
All right. Why you owe reparations?
Because every opportunity and amenity I have has been at the expense of my black and brown brothers and sisters around the world. They, everything in this country is soaked, saturated with the blood of slavery, with genocide. Even the times that I've had to scrape for dollars in my life, they still bared the face of the slave master, genocidal maniac. And I know full well that even the homeless white man on the street corner is going to get more. He's going to get more head nods and ham sandwiches than the black man across the street.
Sure.
So every white person, no matter how little you got or think you got, you owe money. I owe money. And like my brother Prince said, like my comrade Prince said, if you don't give it, we're going to come take
Coming
it.
to take it.
So okay, let's be serious for a moment here. Reparations, while I do think is owed to the black population of America, there is a case to be made why you shouldn't pay reparations. There's also a strong case to be made why you should never pay individual reparations. That shit. You can't determine your life. Like if I had slave masters in my family back a few generations, that doesn't determine me being well off now. Like I can still be homeless. Why the fuck would I pay reparations to the descendants of my slave the slave master if I can't survive myself even? Now that's a strong case to be made there. The reparations should have been paid out back then. That would have been the optimal point in time to do it. But of course, we can't go back in time, so we have to adapt with the current situation. Should Obama get reparations? A case could be made. Should he get individual reparations? Fuck that shit. Reparations has to come from the government. Period. No person individually should pay reparations because no person individually is responsible for the situation that the government or the country is in. No person is personally responsible for the suffering that black people have been undergone, unless you're in government, perhaps. I can see a strong case to be made for politicians paying out personal reparations in that case. However, the most optimal thing to do today is to not pay reparations, but to make sure that every motherfucker has health insurance, has a good school to go to, have good food to eat, and have a good paying job. That is the best thing you can do, period. Because that's going to carry on for generations. While reparations might help you in the short term, that doesn't guarantee the next generation getting something. Because what will happen? Okay, the government, let's say the government pays out reparations to every person who is descendant of a slave. Okay, every person, depending on I'm guessing how many slaves you have back. Hey, Blaze, how many slaves you have back in your family history? You'll get a certain amount of money because that thing would have been doled out. Okay, what happens then? You get a few $1,000 in your bank account, and is that going to help you down the line? Probably not. You get 100,000. Okay, you can buy a house. Maybe, depending on where you live. If you live in Los Angeles, there's no fucking shot you'll afford a house there. Maybe you can buy a car. Okay, that shit's gonna drain your bank account faster than anything in your life. The best thing you can do is to change society at its core rather than pay reparations. We are talking, Blaze, about this dude and the recent Russian spy allegations towards the Black Hammer community. And the Black Hammer community, or the Black Hammer movement, was founded by Gazi Kodzo, or Commander Gazi, as he calls himself now.
And I've seen Prince.
That's him.
Take it, all right? We by a church across the street, and Prince ran up on this old white man. What you say up to the old white man coming out the church?
I asked if you want to hear the gospel of reparations.
Hey! Uhuru?
Uhuru.
What your name is?
Virginia.
Uhuru, Virginia. Oh, do I look good in this sun, Virginia?
You always look good.
Thank you. Now you gotta hurry up because you gotta get out the sun, girl. You ain't got no sunscreen, girl. We gotta save your skin. Hurry up, girl. Hurry up.
Okay.
You know the sun don't like you, girl. Come on now.
Okay, every white person does owe reparations, and that is because we owe that money for the colonial oppression that our ancestors have, done to African people, and it continues to this day right here in the U.S., not just all over the world. But
By the way, Gazi Kodzo has said he is not black, he is African. Period. But he continues to call people white rather than European.
Here in the U.S., so
like he is a full-on racist towards white people.
white people, no matter who you are, you do owe reparations. You owe them right now, and you need to pay them right now.
Yes.
And you can go to uhurusolidarity.org and click on the button that says pay reparations. That's what you need to do. You need to do it now.
Uhuru, uhuru.
Say one more thing.
Yes, you may see them t-shirts real quick.
Black power.
Uhuru.
Hey, just like the chairman says,
Chairman who? They might not
Chairman
know which
Omali
one.
Yeshitela, the
Yes.
African People's Socialist Party and the African Socialist International. A lot of white people will say they don't want to pay reparations because they ain't have nothing to do with slavery. It happened so long ago. But what we have to understand is we are the inheritors of the social wealth that was created by slavery, and African people and other colonized people are the inheritors of the social despair and the social poverty that is the legacy of slavery.
Uhuru, and that is the power of African internationalism, turning cave beasts into revolutionaries for African people. Uhuru, 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 uhuru. So you heard it here. If you are ready, if you are white, male Saxon, okay.
Okay, yeah. He is full blown. Like, let's hear how Jackson is gonna twist everything in this story.
Effect, okay? And basically, what they are alleging, in short, we'll read it, but in short, what they're alleging is that there is a Russian-based group called the, let me find the name of it here. It's called the anti-globalist or anti-globalization organization. It just had anti-globalization movement of Russia, okay? They have a representative named Ionov, who is... I guess in part leading this group, the Anti-Globalization Movement of Russia, the AGMR. And Ionov was having a Zoom meeting with some of these Black empowerment leaders, like the Uhuru Movement and Black Hammer Group. And I guess in this Zoom meeting, I don't know if it was a publicly broadcast Zoom meeting live, like we do here, our live streams, or was posted somewhere after the fact. I guess Ionov declared that the Donetsk People's Republic, Lugansk People's Republic, Zaporozhye and Kherson were part of the Russian Federation, and that they should be deemed as part of the Russian Federation, and that, the word should be spread to other people across the world, Americans included. And I guess the Black Hammer Group, Uhuru Movement Group, they concurred that, yes, this is the Russian Federation, and they, say that
Get to the point, Jackson.
Targeted unjustly, and ethnic Russians here are being targeted unjustly by the West. And for that, they are, I guess, this is being called a foreign influence operation by Russia.
No. No, Jackson. Again, Gasi Kodso, Russian agent. A federal grand jury in Tampa, Florida, returned a superseding indictment charging 4 U.S. citizens and 3 Russian nationals with working on behalf of the Russian government and in conjunction with the Russian Federal Security Service, FSB. That is their CIA, right? Isn't it? FSB is Russia CIA. Federal Security Service of Russia and blah, blah, is the principal security force of Russia and the main successor agency of the KGB. Okay. The KGB. I'm sorry, not the KGB. To conduct a multi-year foreign malign influence campaign in the United States. Among other conduct, the superseding indictment alleges that... God, this is small text. Alleges that the Russian defendants recruited, funded, and directed U.S. political groups to act as unregistered illegal agents of the Russian government and sow discord and spread... Is that where he got the Discord call from? And spread pro-Russian propaganda. The indicted intelligence officers in particular participated in covertly funding and directing candidates for local office within the United States. They funded. It has nothing to do with a fucking Discord call. Let's just Discord. So Discord. It has nothing to do with a Discord call. Gasi Kodso Discord call. Let's go here, Discord. And with the gamer platform called okay, here we go. There's something. 4 U.S. citizens, including the leader of far-left extremist group who is already facing state charges in Georgia, were charged this week with working on behalf of the Russian government. Meanwhile, in Detroit, a high-profile member of the far-right Boogaloo movement pleaded guilty to a gun charge. And with a gamer platform called Discord at the center of the huge leak of classified documents, there's nothing to do with... Okay. So this is just this week in what is Discord? Okay. So nothing there on Discord with this. Yeah, okay. Yeah, no. Has nothing to do with Discord.
Are declaring without any evidence, without any details, that this anti-globalization movement of Russia that Ayanov helps lead is overseen by the FSB, which again, they provided no evidence of. They have no details about this, no information. They just, with wanton disregard, said that this group is somehow aligned with the FSB, and this Ayanov guy had a Zoom meeting with these Americans.
This came out yesterday. This came out April 18th. Today is April 22nd. That's 4 days ago. So you had 3 days to find this, and you did nothing.
Black nationals, essentially. And, these aren't like the Black Lives Matter, George Floyd. It's like not like that. It's like these are serious, hardcore, probably agree with us on most issues. They're not the woke agenda people. They stand for their cause. They're like Malcolm X type black nationals. They're serious about what they do. They're not a pawn of the Democratic Party.
They are early Malcolm X black nationals. Because Malcolm X later on regret a lot of things? Malcolm X regret. This is not the same Malcolm X. Why would someone else use the moniker Malcolm X? Businessman Malcolm X. Oh my God, this must be so cringe. I'm going to look at that later. But I think Malcolm X had some regrets later on in how didn't he splits with black nationalism? Suspends Muslim leader plans black nationalist political movement. Malcolm X. Okay, let's go here. Early years, Nation of Islam, period. Hinton Johnson incidents, blah, blah. Blah, blah. Dissolution and departure. Yeah, okay. Yeah, because they probably killed him. That's right. I guess they would use it to get attention. This guy? Probably. Which is really cringe and should disqualify them forever. Welcome to the chat, by the way. We'll look at this later. This might be interesting, actually.
As you can obviously see, they're not a pawn of the Democratic Party because the Democratic Party elite tyrants are currently weaponizing the Justice Department to go after them. You think that the Justice Department would weaponize their tools, their apparatus to go after Black Lives Matter? Of course not. Of course, Black Lives Matter, who defrauded all of their millions and millions and millions, or if not billions and billions and billions in donations to...
There's a difference between the Black Lives Matter organization and the movement. Those two are not the same, Jackson. You are being dishonest once more in this video.
By like glorious mansions in West Hollywood or Beverly Hills, you think that the Department of Justice is going to go after them? No, because Black Lives Matter is a tool of the Democratic Party. It's a pawn of the Democratic Party. Okay, used to incite a domestic color revolution here. Okay, now they do in fact, use their power, their apparatus, their tools to go after the Black Hammer group and the Uhuru movement group because they're not a pawn of the Democratic Party. And actually...
No, they're a pawn of the Russian government. Congrats.
Uhuru and Black Hammer are standing up for African people. They're standing up for the Malcolm X vision, black nationalism. They're standing up for Russia, and they understand that the West.
There we go. There we go. They're standing up for Russia. Here we go.
Is unfairly and unjustly targeting Russia and trying to demonize Russia, take Russia down, balkanize it, take Putin out of power, all this stuff. That's why they're going after them, okay?
There is zero balkanization attempts of Russia. What the fuck are you talking about? Demonize Russia? Yeah, they're doing well on their own to demonize themselves. Trust me.
This, let me remind you.
By the way, just SVT. Let's see here if we have. Okay. Here we go.
I hope this is being recorded. We are just a few hundred meters away from Vladimirsky.
This is a Russian ship, if you can't tell by the colors.
We're filming everything on the ship. We're filming antennas, as we've been told by the source. I can see crew members walking around on the deck. I think they're watching us. There's two men staring at us. This is really a strange situation, almost a tense situation.
This ship was traveling outside of Denmark without its signaler on. I don't know what it's called. It's it even went between Gotland and Öland, which is absolutely within Swedish territories. AIS sender? Transmitter? Transponder? So this is how you're detected on sea, but you can turn it off. It is easy to turn it off. This is to help civilian ships to not crash into each other, and for the coast guards to know where you are. If you have this off, you're doing something really shady. And they were doing something really shady here. Oh, there's someone with a gun there.
Gevær.
Gevær?
Fuck.
That's like a
Han
rifle.
ligger ikke an til at se på os, vel?
He's not aiming at us, and they respond no. They're now noticing the second person. They are armed, and they seem to be filming us. Have we got enough, Alex? We'll get out of here. Let's take it. Let's be cool about it. So they did not want to get shot, and they knew the risks.
Vi er få kilometer uden for Sjællands Odde.
I'm not gonna dox myself. Maps. And they were... a few kilometer out of Själlandsö. Samsö ligger där borta. Samsö. So they were... This is Själlandsudde, which is what they're talking about here. And here is Samsö, which is... they're a few kilometers outside of Själlandsudde, and Samsö is just over there, they say. So they are somewhere in between here, closer to this. Denmark is all of this. This is Denmark. They have, in other words, probably traveled this way, because this right here is super monitored. So they've probably traveled here to get here.
Samsø ligger lige derovre. Vi i
Or,
det, man almindeligvis.
to be fair, they might actually have gotten this way around. They might have gotten that way around. I can't know.
Tror jeg kalder indre danske farvande. Og der står en russisk sømand og viser sit våben. Fordi de sejler ud og filmer, vil vi.
And they're showing. He's just saying it's crazy that they showed their guns when all they did was film them. So Russia is doing very well in demonizing themselves right now.
You all is really I don't see it. I was worried doing this story because I'm like, you know, this is really not that different than me sitting down for an interview with Dmitry Polyansky, who is Russia's deputy representative to the United Nations, and having a conversation with him. And, you know, I agree with pretty much everything that guy says when we have our conversation. So what? Is the DOJ now going to charge me with malign influence on elections and with the foreign influence campaign because I have a very popular YouTube show? I get more impressions on my show than some mainstream media, a lot of mainstream media outlets, corporate news outlets. And what? So you're going to tell me that because I'm popular and I stand with Russia and I have certain opinions about the U.S. elections that I comment on because I'm a fucking news show that you're going to charge me?
So he's not going to tell anyone, he's not going to show anyone the actual thing, is he? He's not going to actually read anything. He's just going to lie about it. And that is how he keeps his audience completely in the dark. Jackson, you're a brave soul, blah, blah, blah. Like, this is... Like, nobody here is calling him out. I'm guessing because if they did, he'd delete it. But on the other hand, there are 983 comments. So I don't know if he can monetize everything here. I'm an American that has followed President Putin since he was thrust into power by men who thought him weak, and he fully took the reign. Nobody thought him weak. He's not that popular. This is the first I heard of him. You haven't heard of Jackson Hinkle? Oh my God, you're lucky. Oh my God, are you lucky? There might be more people who haven't heard. Jackson Hinkle versus Sam Cedar. Let's just we're not going to watch all of this, but just to give you an introduction of who Jackson Hinkle is.
Put up those videos again. Where's that thing of the
720p? That's
all the.
He
could come back.
I want to say.
Yeah.
Okay.
She received.
Okay.
Against the squad. I think the media has treated them relatively favorably ever since they have started to act in line and kind of toe the line of the Democratic establishment. I mean, they've been able to receive donations and connections with George Soros and George Soros's family for not only their campaigns, but associated ventures like the Sunrise Movement. So I think those are just a few of the ways that they have
gotten preferential treatment from the Democratic establishment. In what way? Because as far as I can tell, like for instance, AOC, Katie Porter's not exactly in the squad, but I imagine you include her in this group. They got they got actually the opposite of preferential treatments when it came to committee positions. Committees are the most important thing in terms of exercising power. They literally censured Ilhan Omar. They attempted to do it almost.
I think in some regards they have been attacked, and there is going to be that friction there. But in some ways, Sam, because you're trying to act like there's no ways that they've been.
Come on,
Omar,
just get
for
to the
example,
juicy parts.
So position for progressives would be for the Democratic establishment to roast.
Okay. This is just, he's so slow. Here. Okay, we can actually go to some highlights here, perhaps.
You feel scorned by them, but you still think they're the most progressive members of Congress, correct?
That's not a high bar. I hold them to what they. No, Sam, listen. Don't interrupt. I was about to answer your question and you interrupted me. I was about to answer your question and you interrupted me.
Okay.
I hold them to the bar that they ran on while, campaigning for Congress. That bar is saying stuff like, I'm going to fight for Medicare for all. We can't wait 100 more years. We need to fight for it right now. Saying stuff like, I don't care if I'm a one-term congressperson.
But now Jackson Hinkle supports Donald J. Trump. MAGA communism, Jackson Hinkle.
One other quick thing. Hey,
Is there a
was defunded.
There we go.
Of a society.
Communism. Now, a lot of people are going to hear that hashtag MAGA communism and be a little bit confused. So I'm going to let you explain what that means, because I don't think you're a communist, Jackson.
And he's correct. For once in OAN's life, a reporter on their network is correct. For once.
Well, I actually am a communist, but at the end of the day, communists have a lot of the same goals as working class Americans made up in the MAGA movement. We want more prosperity for average Americans. We want to end big tech. We want to end big agriculture, big pharma. We want to stop them.
There's nothing in the communist movement that directly opposes tech companies or big pharma. Like, if big pharma is made up of the workers of the companies, like if they own the companies and they band together to create big pharma, then that is part of socialism. That is part of communism. Like, there's nothing directly or inherently, I should say, that these two are opposed to each other.
Monopolies and the subsidization of monopolies all across America, and we want to reinstill patriotic
we should also say, like, stopping
and patriotic education. That is directly, intrinsically, inherently opposing communism. A patriotic education, please.
With treason or foreign influence campaign or this is insane. So let's take a look at the details of what is going on, because that is the case. They could feasibly charge me with this stuff or indict me over this
unless
stuff.
You're taking money from them. Which...
And given that they've done it to them. So let's read a little bit here. 4 Americans affiliated with a black empowerment and political organization have been charged, along with 3 Russians, with conspiring to covertly sow discord in U.S. society, spread Russian propaganda, and interfere illegally in U.S. elections, according to an indictment unsealed Tuesday.
Illegally. Interfere illegally.
U.S. citizens and 2 Russians were added to an existing case in Tampa, Florida, federal court involving Alexander Ionov, described by prosecutors as the founder of a Moscow-based organization funded by the Russian government to carry out a clandestine influence campaign in the United States.
So the Russian government funded a clandestine influence campaign from within the United States. And the reason they did that was because the US have made a very strong remark towards Russia to not interfere digitally. So they went, okay, but if we send one of our own and he funnels money to allies within the US and they funnel money to political candidates, that's going to be 2 steps removed from us. So it's going to look more legit, and it's going to be harder for the US to discover this. I'm guessing, considering Gatsi Kodzo is murder charges. A guy was killed on his compound. Infamous cult leader arrested after dead body found in home. Like, this is probably where the like, where did this money come from? How did you afford all of this? Like, they started to look into it after that. Had they not done that, had they not killed someone, who knows? Who fucking knows?
So I guess this is entirely different than, say, like Joe Biden inviting Volodymyr Zelensky himself to come and personally lobby the United States Congress, the 400 however many members of the United States Congress, to send Ukraine more money.
Yes, it is different, because he wasn't acting in a clandestine way. Nobody is gonna be surprised that Vladimir Zelensky is acting on behalf of the Ukrainian government, because he was there on a diplomatic passport, probably. Nobody's going to be surprised by that, Jackson.
And U.S. taxpayer, we had this whole idea, no taxation without representation. That was one of the ideas that helped create this country. No taxation without representation. So what are we doing, sending hundreds of billions of dollars to the Nazis? Yes, Nazis. Yes, Nazis. Let me just show you this, by the way. I saw this pop up on my screen today.
It's the 5. It's like they have a spinning wheel of arguments, and this is like the biggest slice on it. Half of the spinning wheel is just Nazis in Ukraine.
Yeah, I was like, oh my God, I have to share this with everyone. This is quite
unlike Nazis in Russia.
Yes, Nazis in Ukraine.
Yeah, nobody's surprised by Nazis in Ukraine. We all know it. Everyone knows it. We've known it for a long time. And should Nazis not be allowed to exist peacefully? Like, they shouldn't be allowed to murder people. They shouldn't be allowed. I want to stop them from gaining political power, but I want them to be able to live peacefully, because that's a human right, and Russia is violating that human right.
Sending hundreds of billions of dollars to these guys, no representation for Americans as to where this money goes. We're sending it to Nazis. This is insane.
Oh my God. Jackson, your argument is incoherent. Was that where you're going with this? No representation, no taxation without representation. So why are we sending tax money to these people? What was it?
No representation for Americans as to where this money goes. We're sending it to...
No representation for the Americans as for where this money goes. That has nothing to do with no representation, no taxation without representation. These two are fully incompatible arguments. He's talking about Azov Battalion. No, there are more Nazis in Ukraine than Azov Battalion. The Azov Battalion, the reason it became so big is because they defended. I can't remember the city specifically, but they were very good at defending that city, and a lot of people who weren't Nazis decided to join up with them because they were good at defending Mariupol. That's it. They were good at defending Mariupol, so a lot of people from that area joined them because of that. So there are people in the Azov Battalion who aren't Nazis, but yes, the Azov Battalion is very problematic, to say the least. However, the entire Russian military is very problematic, to say the least.
The Nazis, this is insane. So that's okay if you're white and you stand with Ukraine. I guess that's completely fine. But if you're a black national who stands with Russia, then you're going to be charged with conspiracy to defraud the United States and sow discord in the United States and malign an election interference, all this stuff.
Just lying.
It's absolutely insane and frightening to me, okay?
Keep reading.
So, let's read a little bit more here. The 4 Americans are all part of the African People's Socialist Party and Uhuru movement, which has locations in St. Petersburg, Florida, No pun intended. St. Peter. I get confused because they say St.
You know what?
Petersburg,
You know what?
is this
Fair
St.
enough,
Petersburg,
Jackson.
Russia?
Fair enough.
I don't know. In St. Louis, among those charged are Omali Yeshitila, chairman of the U.S.-based organization, which was raided by the FBI last summer when Ionov was originally charged. So yeah, they were the ones who were raided last summer, and now they're formally. So they raided them last summer. Now they're formally indicting them, charging them.
Now,
Russia's
the reason they were raided, Jackson, we just went over this. The reason they were raided was because they found a dead body in their home. Someone was murdered. That's why they were raided.
Foreign intelligence service allegedly weaponized our First Amendment rights, freedoms Russia denies to its own citizens, to divide Americans and interfere in the elections in the United States.
Russian foreign intelligence services allegedly weaponized our First American Amendment rights, freedoms. Russia denies its own citizens to divide Americans and interfere. Yeah.
That's from the Assistant Attorney General of the United States. The department will not hesitate to expose and prosecute those who sow discord and corrupt the U.S. elections in service of hostile foreign interests, regardless of whether the culprits are U.S. citizens or foreign individuals abroad. All right. So the chairwoman of this group and 3 other U.S. citizens, Penny Joanne Hess, Jesse Neville, and Augustus C. Romaine Jr. are charged with conspiracy to defraud the United States. And Hess, Shatila, and Neville are also charged with impersonating agents of a foreign government. Ionov and the 2 other Russians who remain in their country face the fraud conspiracy charge. So now they're also going to try to indict Russians living in Russia, which makes no sense to me, but I guess they're doing that as
No. No, because the U.S. Jewish have no. The U.S. have no jurisdiction there. How would they charge them? I'm guessing the 2 Russians who remain in their country. They have conducted clandestine operations within the U.S. The crime was committed in the U.S. or towards the U.S. So if they ever travel to the U.S., they will be charged because they funneled money towards the U.S.
as well. Good luck. Court records did not list attorneys for any of the 7 defendants, and it was not immediately clear if they have been arrested. I want to take this moment to share with the Uhuru Movement and Black Hammer Group. If any of you would like to join me on my program, I don't really know the legality of doing something like that, but I would sure love to talk to you, or maybe one of your
perfectly
attorneys.
fine. I don't see why that
hear
would be
what's
a problem.
happening, because A, this is not getting a lot of press. B, it's only getting one-sided press. And C, I don't think you're guilty of anything at all. Okay? I think you're guilty of telling the truth. I think you're guilty of trying to protect those in Russia who have come under the, attack of the West and the United States. I think you're guilty of standing for maybe a more multipolar world that will bring about hopefully more equality and freedom and growth and, I don't know, higher standards of living for people across the world. I think you're guilty of that, but I don't think you're guilty of defrauding America or sowing discord or conspiracy. I think those that are sowing discord and conspiracy, again, is the Biden administration.
So I want to know. The reason I keep watching, because he's saying nothing really. The reason I keep watching is because I want to know if he ever mentions this participating covertly funding and directing candidates for local office within the United States. This is why they were arrested. I want to see. Does he ever mention it?
Currently taking hundreds of billions of dollars of our money and sending it to Nazis in Ukraine. Okay, I think they're the ones who are kind of sowing the discord and the conspiracy here. But that's just me. All right. So I feel free to reach.
Oh, okay. So we're just skipping a bit here. Court records did not list attorneys, blah, blah, blah. Prosecutor said, I know, blah, blah, overseeing the Russian intelligence service. They recruited U.S.-based organizations to help sway elections, make it appear there was strong support in the U.S. for Russia's invasion of Ukraine and backing efforts such as 2015 United Nations petition to decry the genocide of African people in the U.S., according to China. Among other things, the indictment charges that an unnamed candidate for local office in St. Petersburg, Florida, that is, received clandestine funding, so he just skips it, and political strategy from the group. That is why they are indicted. Ionov and another Russian said that at one point that their Florida efforts would extend to the 2020 presidential campaign, which they call the main topic of the year.
Right. So, feel free to reach out. You guys know where to reach out.
The WHO group did not have a candidate who ran unsuccessfully. Sorry. The WHO group did have a candidate who ran unsuccessfully for St. Petersburg City Council in 2019. I'm not going to attempt it, who is not charged in the indictment. She held a news conference in 2022 in which she defended Russia, saying world colonial powers have been collaborating against Russia for more than a century. So just defending Russia is not enough to be indicted. You have to get money from them. The money. It's all about the money. I'm worried because Ukraine will face a ton of social and economic issues after this war. And if they lose, it could be a perfect breeding ground for a big rise in if Ukraine loses, there's going to be Nazis all over Ukraine. If they win, I think it's going to be easier to sell them on not Nazism, They were already, the Nazis in Ukraine existed while Ukraine was under the thumb of Russia. That's where they started to pop up. We had in Sweden, didn't we have some people go to Russia for training? They would have a new stab in the back myth about Jew. Yeah, exactly. Sorry. They were actually went to Russia for this. Oh, come on. Really? German? Why in German? English. Why can't I find it? Why? English. According to prosecutors, 2 of the Nazis who are suspected of bombings in Gothenburg have received paramilitary training in Russia, more precisely at the Partisan Center in St. Petersburg. Nothing happens in St. Petersburg that Putin isn't aware of or hasn't sanctioned. Russians who want to fight in Ukraine train there, but also foreign extremists. Whatever you need for military training, they can teach you, from alpinism to how to make a bomb, says Vera Alperovich of the Russian organization Sova Center. The Partisan Center is located in somewhat shabby basement in Russia's second largest city, St. Petersburg, under the auspice of the ultra-nationalist organization Russian Imperial Movement, or more specifically its paramilitary branch, Russian Imperial Legion. A series of training programs are carried out here. NMR, NMR Azov. This is not what I wanted. NMR tränar med. Okay. Okay, I can't find but Scream Dream is confirming with me that he's also read the that Swedish Nazis went down to Ukraine to train with the Nazis. We've known about this for years. This isn't something new, but the Nazis grew under Russia's thumb. Okay, when Russia had their president in Ukraine, that's when the Nazis grew. Now we see the opposite. I am certain that had we had a chance, we would see Ukraine deal with their Nazis if they just had peace. But you don't deal with people who wants to fight for your country's sovereignty by throwing them in jail. You let them fight, and then you can deal with them afterwards. There's a big rift in our far right between supporting Russia or Ukraine. Yeah, the Sweden Democrats they're not officially taking a pro-Ukraine, pro-Russia stance. Officially, they are pro-Ukraine, but they never vote pro-Ukraine. Didn't they in the EU vote down to support Ukraine? Yep. Everyone in the EU, the European Union votes. Give me 2 seconds, boys. And I'm back. So while everyone within the European Union backed Ukraine, the Sweden Democrats, the Nazis in our government, didn't back the proposal. But officially, they do not. They support Ukraine.
To me. Prosecutors said Ayanov operated an entity called the Anti-Globalization Movement of Russia that was used to carry out its U.S. influence efforts.
So just to get back to this, he just skips the actual crimes they committed.
But that's just me. All right. So
like this is deliberately. He is deliberate in what he's doing here. He does not want his audience to hear the actual crimes being committed here.
Feel free to reach out. You guys know where to reach out to me. Prosecutors said Ayanov operated an entity called the Anti-Globalization Movement of Russia that was used to carry out its U.S. influence efforts.
Or did he? Among other things, didn't I in charge on...
Overseen by the Russian intelligence service known as the FSB. They recruited U.S.-based
his eyebrows are like his entire forehead is an eyebrow, pretty
organizations to help sway elections, make it appear there was strong support in the U.S. for Russia's invasion of Ukraine, and backing efforts such as the 2015 United Nations petition to decry the genocide of African people in the U.S., according to the indictment. Among other things, the indictment charges that an unnamed candidate for local office in St. Petersburg received clandestine...
Here we go. Let's see how he's... What's the excuse gonna be? That these are trumped up charges? Is that gonna be his excuse? They're lying? Is that gonna be it? Or why is it illegal for Russia to fund a candidate in America? Why would that be illegal? America does it every time, and America is wrong for doing it.
Funding and political strategy from the group. Now, that would be something, I don't know the details of this. Again, they've provided literally no evidence of this.
Of course they didn't provide evidence. Why would they provide evidence in the indictment? The evidence is going to be shown during the trial.
Being the case, But
they've shown it to the grand jury, probably.
Yeah, I guess if that is the case, if they're taking money from like a foreign organization... this one candidate, which is unnamed, we don't even...
And the candidate isn't being charged because they probably didn't know. They just took money from supporters. It just happens that the supporters got their money from Russia to support this candidate.
Know who this is. This is a separate thing, but semi-related. I guess this would make... that might be a case that they can make if they could prove that. But what I'll say is, I guess they're no more guilty of committing a crime like that, and it was probably nowhere near the level of the crime that is similar to that was committed by the Biden administration.
It took him 12 minutes out of 16 to get to the actual charges.
Or rather, Joe Biden is vice president under the Obama administration when he gave his son a board seat. He negotiated to have his son get a board seat for the natural gas company. What's the name of it? The natural gas company.
The Ukrainian gas company?
Ukrainian Burisma. And
to my knowledge, Biden did diddly squat to help Hunter Biden get that position. Hunter Biden leveraged his father, being the vice president at the time, to get the position. But Joe Biden, did not help Hunter to get that position. He just, I'm the son of the vice president of America, therefore I should have this position. Okay.
And he got like $80,000 a month from Burisma. Hunter Biden knows nothing about natural gas. He knows a lot about crack cocaine, but he knows nothing about natural gas. But he gets a board seat for Burisma Holdings Group, $80,000 a month. And it just so happens that Joe Biden was the one who was overseeing U.S.-Ukraine relations when this was all taking place. So
and to my knowledge, Joe Biden has been proven to have acted impeccably during that time. Probably because he knew how it would look otherwise. Joe Biden, Burisma accusations. Biden-Ukraine conspiracy theory. The conspiracy theory alleges that the then Vice President Biden withheld loan guarantees to pressure Ukraine into firing a prosecutor to prevent a corruption investigation into Burisma and to protect his son. The United States did withhold government aid to pressure Ukraine into removing the prosecutor in accord with the official and bipartisan policy of the federal government of the United States. The U.S. government, along with the European Union, the World Bank, and the International Monetary Fund, believed that the prosecutor to be corrupt and ineffective and too lenient in investigating companies and oligarchs, including Burisma and its owner. A January 2018 video shows Biden taking credit for withholding the loan guarantees to have the prosecutor fired, acting to implement bipartisan U.S. policy rather than the reasons the conspiracy theory alleges. They wanted him fired so he could be tougher on the corporations. The reason Burisma probably hired Hunter was to make sure that they had their boy still in power.
The Obama administration as vice president, okay? And remember, 10% for the big guy. Never forget that. So there are no administration relations when this was all taking place. So under the Obama administration as vice president, okay? And remember, 10% for the big guy. Never forget that. So they're no more guilty.
10% to the big guy? What does he mean by that?
This person's probably no more guilty of committing any crime than the Biden family, and it's probably a far...
Blaze, you seem to have been correct in this. Lies is his is the defense he's going with.
Or lesser crime, if it actually is a crime at all. We'll see what happens. But make no mistake
wait,
about
a lesser crime?
This is than the Biden family, and it's probably a far lesser crime if it actually is a crime at all. We'll see what happens.
If it is a crime at all, the allegations are a crime. The allegations being made, that's a crime. You mean if they're convicted?
But make no mistake about it. This is the last swipe at our freedom of speech. This is a warning shot, or maybe more than a warning shot. This is a shot that's been fired pretty close to our head.
So he acknowledges that what they have allegedly done is a crime if it can be proven, and that's always the line you go to. If the crimes are proven, that's why it's allegedly. He acknowledges that it's a crime, but he still claims this is a threat to our freedom of speech. That is interesting. That is like the bottom. Was it the bottom melee? What's it called? When you say one thing but you mean something else, or you retreat to something else. God damn it, never mind. But he is twisting the words Mott and Bailey, not Bot. There, I Mott and Bailey. There we go. There we go. The Mott and Bailey. The Mott in this is the Bailey. The Bailey in this case is they're criminals. The Mott is we have to protect freedom of speech. But those two have nothing to do with each other. It's incoherent.
Everyone who does stuff like what we do here, I live in the United States, so I'm better off than some. I don't live in Germany. I don't live in France. I've seen some people in Germany and France be arrested or threatened with arrest. I know there was a young fellow who was doing war reporting in Ukraine from France, and he can't go back home now. He's applying for Russian citizenship. And
Oh my god. French. Oh my god, I can't spell. French reporter, Ukraine applying for Russian citizenship. French journalist expert Bouquet applied for Russian citizen political asylum. Adrian Bouquet was the first Western volunteer to state publicly that the Bucha developments were an outright false flag operation by the Ukrainian armed forces. Oh my god. Russian usage. Okay. Okay, let's hear what Russia says about this. January 11th, Adrian Bouquet, the French expert and journalist, Adrian Bouquet. Who is he? It's all Russian sites, except for this, I guess. Adrian Bouquet, the former French soldier who had traveled to the Donbass region, was knifed by two men on the street in Istanbul. Is an investigation already underway? Are French and Turkey engaged in negotiations on this matter? Okay. The Frenchman Adrian, what is it? Stop fake, by the way. English, I'm guessing it's a Russian. Stopfake.org. Yeah, it's a Russian site. Witness crime committed by Ukrainian Nazis in Bucha. Is it Bucha? Former French soldier Adrian Bouquet told Radio Sud that during his visit to Bucha, he witnessed crimes committed by the Azov fighter against civilians and Russian prisoners of war. Okay. On NATO weapons at the mission of the Donetsk People's Republic to the Joint Center on Control and Coordination of Issues Related to Ukraine's War Crimes, he is also a volunteer. So he volunteered for Russia, I'm guessing. Bouquet was the first Western volunteer to say publicly that the Bucha developments were an outright false flag operation by the Ukrainian armed forces. He was unjustifiably persecuted in France and narrowly escaped death in an assassination attempt by Ukrainian nationals in Istanbul. Mm-hmm.
I think he may have gotten it, actually. And there was a German young woman who was doing good reporting, and she is being charged.
So they're not being, by the way, they are not being charged in France or being persecuted by the Justice Department or whatever, because they are reporters, as he claims here.
He's applying for Russian citizenship in France, and there was a young fellow who was doing war reporting in Ukraine from France, and he can't go back home now. He
didn't just go do war reporting. He was a volunteer for Russia. That is why he's being charged. If you go volunteer for ISIS, you're gonna get charged.
He's applying for Russian citizenship, and I think he may have gotten it, actually. And there was a German young woman who was doing good reporting, and she is being charged in Germany. And I'm sure there's more. I'm not aware.
And let's see what she did. German female reporter charged Russia. Let's see. German journalist Alina Lipp has said she faced 3 years in prison in her home country for reporting from Russian eastern Donbass region. The charge against her related to coverage from her News from Russia Telegram channel, where she shared information with its 175,000 subscribers in both German and Russian. In an interview with the Redonka worldwide website, Redonka. Really? Okay. She explained that she is subject to criminal proceedings by the German federal government after receiving a letter from the prosecutor's office. She's accused by German authorities of supporting the Russian invasion of Ukraine and faces 3 years in prison under Article 140 of the Constitution or a monetary fine. The letter says, for example, I say in my Telegram channel that the population of Donbass supports the fact that Russia has launched a special operation. I also said that for several years, Ukrainians have been killing civilians in Donbass and that this is genocide. There have been more murders of civilians in the Donbass region since Russia invaded by Russians than during all the time of the occupation of the Donbass region. And it turns out that the crime for it turns out to be a crime for Germany, so they took 1,600 euro from my bank account and didn't even tell me about it, Ms. Lipp said. German authorities are also closed down her father's bank account without warning, she claimed. Ms. Lipp is a former Green Party politician who has been based in Ukraine's eastern Donbass regions for 6 months. She says she just films what she sees and doesn't spread fake information. Despite charges against her, she plans to continue reporting from Donetsk, which she said is being shelled daily by the Ukrainian armed forces. Reporting in Ukraine is tightly restricted, and those who deviate from the Kiev line do so at serious risk for their safety. Placed in government kill list in 2014. Italian photograph. I want to see all she did was report on it. Then I can see there be a case for being an overreach. I don't like criminalizing opinions. What was her name, by the way? India Today. What? Shut up.
My name is Alina Lipp.
I don't want to hear from you. Oh, God damn it. So there might be, I can't find it, unfortunately, but there might be some monetary thing here. Create delusion. This is obviously an anti-Russian organization and website, so let's have that in mind. Russia's war propaganda reaches hundreds of thousands in Germany, who are the people who make Putin's lies socially acceptable. Alina Lipp, best known for a pro-Russian Telegram channel, News from Russia, where she spreads propaganda and misinformation. Lipp's mother is German and father is Russian. Oh, okay. They remove that context. According to Alina, her father, Vladimir Lipp, told her the truth about the Russo-Ukrainian conflict around 2014 after the Revolution of Dignity and after Russia annexed Crimea. After annexation, she actually traveled to Crimea and launched the YouTube channel called Happy in Crimea. Interesting. The characters of her video compared life in Crimea before and after the Russian occupation, of course, in favor of the latter. For example, he claimed that the living conditions on the peninsula are much better than in the countries of the EU. Please. Such a sort of person as Lip is a part of the group of relatively attractive young women who do pro-Kremlin propaganda, along with people like Mira Tirada, Maria Butina, Lyubov, blah, blah, blah. Their job is to show everything Russia does in a good light and constantly criticize the West and Ukraine. They have all now relocated to Russia or to areas that Russia occupies illegally. In an Orwellian way, she calls herself a peace journalist. At some point, she started reporting from occupied by Russia, Donbas, to create propaganda content. In January 2022, she was part of the big group claiming that Russia does not want war and is a peaceful country. On 16th of February 2022, she was visiting a conference called Geopolitical War of the West Against Russia, the Ukrainian case in Russia. So I'm guessing that the reason Germany has charged her and frozen her father's account is because there's money funneled from Russia to them. That is my assumption here. Money? Nothing? Funding? Fund? Nothing. But there might not be. If there are no funds being coming to her from Russian government, then I think the charges should be dropped, obviously. And the same goes with her father. Just because you are Russian, just because you agree with Russia, I don't think the government should charge you. I understand why that would happen in Ukraine, though, because they are at direct war with that government. So during wartime, I can understand having those rules. In peacetime, I'm sorry, I don't like it.
Aware of, but America now looks like we're headed down that same path as well. It's very, very frightening to say the least. I hope nothing but the best for the Uhuru movement and Black Hammer Group, and this is not the America that we know and love, and it just shows how much of a fraud the whole democracy and freedom thing is. Because
remember, he's read that they are charged for taking money from Russia. And he's acting as if it's just a freedom of speech thing.
People don't care about it. They'll do anything to further their political agenda and try to stomp out the fire of momentum that Russia and China carry in their torch of multipolarity each and every day. Okay, so I'm not going to be streaming tonight. That's why I wanted to do this video. It's an important story. I didn't cover it on my last stream.
Okay. Complete and utter propagandist, Jackson Hinkle. Thank you for that riveting report. Thank you. Thank you for spreading propaganda. Thank you for dismissing actual charges of funding from Russia towards political movements. Like, what would it take? What would it take for someone like him to be disillusioned by Russia? Like, I don't think there's anything that anyone can do to make him become disillusioned by Russia. Yeah, he did debate Vush once. It did not go well. He debated him on Iran and the chemical attacks, and he completely disintegrated during that debate. But he completely ignored what was happening, and this is the thing with Jackson. Nothing you say changes his mind. Nothing you say changes his audience's mind. As you can tell from this comment section, they completely ignore the actual charges here. I could see those federal police arrest Garland Nixon and this thing getting really blown up. We're living in times of trouble. Who's Garland Nixon? That sounds from not just Nixon, but that sounds familiar in general. Garland Nixon? Oh, that guy. Wait, he spoke at. Wait, no. Center for Political Innovation. He spoke there?
Our next.
Oh, that is so embarrassing. That is so embarrassing. Very good observation. No taxation without representation. Okay. Like, Jackson, you are a brave man. Continue your good work.